I was born in Mexico City, and I spent most part of my life there, all my childhood and all my teenage years, and I remember how great the city was and how easy it was. Although being a big city, it still had the feeling of a very familiar place. Yes, I always wanted to travel and go out and know the world, but it seems almost like an impossibility. One thing that happened that I will always remember and my life changed completely was the earthquake in Mexico in 1985. It was a really catastrophic thing. I was, I believe, 21, 22 years old, and I remember exactly the day I was sleeping. My bedroom start moving, my bookcase fall down, my lamp on the ceiling start banging the ceiling. It was really tough. Fortunately, nothing happened in my house, although I lost a lot of people. A couple of dear friends, family from the neighborhood, and really close people. But what happened there is that the city changed forever. I think that Mexico is divided as a city between before the earthquake and after the earthquake. After the earthquake, for the next couple of years, it became very sad. The landscape of the city changed, and at the same time, it became just a different city in which people somehow live a little more conscious that life could disappear in a second, but at the same time, a little more afraid of letting go. So it became very strange as an atmosphere. That gave me a great excuse to live. I thought that the Mexico that I remember was not going to ever be the same again. So then I leave and I went to the Caribbean. I got a huge impact on the shock of that culture going from Mexico, which is basically a country with a great tradition of indigenous culture, going into a country with this very influenced by African and Caribbean culture. It was totally different world, although the language is the same. It was very different. It helped me grow a lot. The idea of going back to Mexico by then started becoming more and more far from my head. So from there I keep on moving, and I moved to Venezuela, to Caracas, Venezuela, which is a place that I love and that I remember very fondly. I arrived to Venezuela, and a month after I arrived, there was a rebellion, almost like a civil war that was started by Chavez, the current president, which at the time was just a general in the army. And the political situation in the country became very strange. And I found myself being a foreigner in the middle of a war that I really did not care about, although I loved the country and that was where my house was. It was a war in which I got no sides or no real intention of participating. So again, that war make me look for new places to move, and that's how I arrived to New York. I went to New York at the beginning of the 90s and found in New York a place in which I could continue my career and grow my career with the my whole vision about the American way of life before moving to New York was a little pessimistic. I didn't like it much. I always thought, and still somehow think, that there's a lot of values in America that are lost and that I don't share as a Latin American. But I found New York to be almost like a very international place, a city that is geographically in the United States, but that is totally different from the United States, maybe because of all the influence of nationalities and the influences that you get from art and from culture and from different things. So I found, yeah.